TerraFlex speed bumps feature 3-inch stroke bump stops for maximum suspension control. The trail-tested design will reduce body roll and help prevent harsh bottoming out over rough terrain. Installation on the JL Wrangler is as simple as trimming the jounce tube and sliding the speed bumps into place. In this video, we show the installation on the right or passenger side of the vehicle, but installation is the same for both sides. Raise the vehicle in the air and remove the wheels and tires. Disconnect the sway bar link at the axle end and swing the sway bar up and out of the way. Remove the bolt connecting the front track bar to the axle. Detach the bracket connecting the brake lines to the front lower control arms. Remove the axle actuator plug by pushing in the locking tab. Remove any zip ties or plastic clips connecting the line to the upper control arm. Disconnect the breather hose on the axle. On the Rubicon, there is a locker actuator plug that you will also need to disconnect. Loosen, but do not remove the control arm bolts. The front upper control arms have a heat shield on the frame end. Move the heat shield out of the way or remove it if you want to. Support the axle and remove the bolt on the axle end of the front shock. Raise the vehicle or lower the axle until the springs are loose. Be aware of the brake lines, ABS lines, and any other wires. As much as possible, avoid stretching these. Remove the spring, remove the factory bump stop, and the spring isolator. Measure up 2 inches from the bottom of the jounce tube and mark the tube. We used a pipe cutter for a straight cut, but a cutoff wheel will work just fine. Just make sure that the cut is straight. Once the 2 inches of jounce tube have been removed, clean up any rough or uneven surfaces. Remove the sharp edges from the inside of the tube. When we test fitted the speed bump, a small burr from the weld kept the speed bump from going in all the way, so we cleaned up the top of the tube as well. To prevent any rust, prime and paint the jounce tube. Included in this kit are spacer rings. These are used to adjust the speed bump's position. They can be used in combination with the speed bump strike pads to fine-tune the up travel limit. After the paint dries, slide the speed bump into the jounce tube and mark the location of the top of the jounce tube on the speed bump. Cover the speed bump with RTV silicone. Slide the speed bump into the jounce tube. Be careful not to scrape off too much of the silicone as you do so. Attach the clamp on top and tighten the bolt. You will need to trim the fender liner to keep it from catching on the speed bump. Go up about 1.5 inches and simply cut around the speed bump. Reinstall the spring and make sure the bottom of the spring matches up with the spring index. Slide the bump stop strike pads in between the spring coils. Using the provided hardware and tool, attach the speed bump strike pad to the spring mount. Install the rear bump stop strike pads by placing the mounting plate onto the axle bracket. 2 holes on the mounting plate line up with holes on the axle bracket. Use these to attach the mounting plate using the provided hardware. Place the rear bump stop strike pad onto the mounting plate and insert the mounting strap into the slot on the bump stop strike pad. Insert the hex cap bolts and lock washer from below and screw them into the mounting strap. the 2-inch rear bump stop strike pad has a modular design that allows interlocking shims to be added to allow a customized strike pad height for larger tires, longer springs, and increased shock lengths. In the written instructions is a tire clearance guide. This will give appropriate ring and strike pad combinations for various tire sizes with the factory fenders. If tire clearance is not an issue, then simply make sure the speed bump bottoms out before the shocks. Keep in mind it is important that the shocks are always the appropriate length for the lift height.